Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the country. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. This is part 2 of our 2-part live webinar series dedicated to grabbing hold of the mid-market opportunity hosted by Storagecraft and Service Leadership, Inc. In part 1, we spent a lot of time validating the mid-market opportunity, and our co-host, which I'll introduce in just a second, took us through the short list of success metrics for product-centric solution providers selling into the mid-market, and we introduced the Storagecraft specific mid-market solution. I'm Janine Edwards, so we thank you if you joined us for part 1. If you happen to not see it, don't worry, it is recorded and hosted on our Partner Zone partner portal. It's very easy to become a partner and get access to that, and you'll also have an opportunity to get access to this particular part 2 via video as well after the webinar is over. I'm the Senior Director of Channel Marketing at Storagecraft. That means I bring the partner voice to everything Storagecraft as much as I possibly can. And I'm joined by Junior Silver, who's one of our product managers at Storagecraft. Good morning, good afternoon, Junior. I think you're in Utah, so it is good morning still, right? Nope, good afternoon to you, yes. Thanks for joining us. And then we also have Paul Dipple, the CEO of Service Leadership. It's always a pleasure to spend time with Paul. Paul, thanks for spending time with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And so today what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the execution portion of the 2-part webinar series. We're going to walk through a set of best practices for going to market like the top performers do that we spoke about in part 1. And then we're going to bring the impact of OneSafe into the mid-market to life with a couple of really super cool use cases. So get excited for that. We put together some great, real life examples of how OneSafe made an impact into a couple of organizations, and then we'll spend some time in Q&A and the next steps on how to further engage. So without further ado, take it away, Paul and Junior.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. So we did promise in this, as Janine said, we did promise to give you the step-by-step on how to differentiate when you go to market to the mid-market customers. And I think most of you are focused on mid-market customers based on who I see on this webcast. If there are those of you that are SMB or enterprise, big enterprise customers, you can take away quite a bit from this as well. But let's go ahead and focus on the mid-market. So we're going to look at the specific steps that you need to be successful in pursuing the mid-market, and there are 7 of them here. The first one is solutions selection. And as you can see, the bullet under that is fewer solutions equals faster growth. I know that's counterintuitive, but that is in fact the case. We know that from our own experience billing solution provider companies up to a couple of billion in revenue. And we know that from all the benchmarking we do of solution providers around the world. The second step is marketing. How do you stand out to C-level buyers? Everybody knows you want to get to the C-level. Why do you want to get to the C-level? Because they are the ones that actually make the buying decisions. And usually when you get to C-level, you can express yourself better in terms of business value and therefore sell more, hold a higher price point, all that great stuff. Then the third step is sales. What are the solution selling incentives of the best-in-class folks? How do they go about getting their sales teams to actually adopt new solutions and sell through rather than just sell a couple or 2 or 3 or what have you? And having sold them, then we're on to PS delivery and win-win project pricing. How do you make more money on your projects and still undercut the pricing of the other guy on their projects? And then managed service delivery. How do you lower the service wages that you need to pay on your managed service side and get higher SLA attainment? And then 6, account management. How do you stay relevant to the account over time? And then lastly, how do you profit from this? And one of the challenges that product-centric firms have in adding services is that when you sell a recurring service, instead of selling a product, unfortunately, the gross margin that you would have gotten up front, you now have to sort of divvy up across the next 12 or 24 or 36 months. And while as much as you'd love to sell recurring revenue services to the client, that's a little bit tough on the cash flow. And so we'll take a look at how the best in class are positioning themselves to harvest gross margin now for services revenue that comes later, as amazing as that sounds. So that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to take you step by step through these things to increase your likelihood of success in pursuing the mid-market with StorageCraft. In fact, we're going to use StorageCraft as the example in a number of these. All right, so those of you that know us, you know we benchmark, financially benchmark more solution providers on the planet than anybody. Most folks participate in a quarterly confidential benchmark that they subscribe to. And here are the latest results for product-centric firms. That is, companies, solution providers for whom less than 40% of their total revenue comes from their own services. That is product-centric. And there's nothing wrong with that. Why do I say that? Because if you look at the far right-hand set of columns, way over on the right, you see that the best-in-class or top quartile EBITDA, bottom line profit, is 11.5%. So 1/4 of product-centric firms make 11.5% or more in 2018. That's not too bad. Why is that not too bad? Because the median managed service provider only made about 9.5%. So if you can get to best in class of the product-centric business model, you can actually make more money at the bottom line percentage-wise than median managed service providers. You will also be making about triple what the median are in your business model. And obviously, the bottom quartile, unfortunately, of this business model, as the others, unfortunately loses money. But there's nothing wrong with making 11.5% when the median managed service provider is making about 9.5%, particularly when you consider that the best-in-class product-centric guys average around 50 million or so, and the managed service guys average around 6 million in revenue. So would you rather have 11.5% of 50 million or 9.5% of 6 million? So that's why it's not a bad thing to be product-centric. Let's just find out how to optimize it, and in particular, optimize it for the mid-market. So the first thing that we're going to look at is solution selection, and it says in the upper right here, fewer solutions equals faster growth. Now, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense to me. I thought the more solutions you carried, the more often you could say yes to what the customer wants, the faster you grow. Unfortunately, that's actually not true, and here's why. If those of you that know us, you know we speak in terms of operational maturity level. The higher the operational maturity level, the faster your growth, the better your profit, the more differentiated you are in the marketplace, or you can be in the marketplace. So low operational maturity level is have 4 different storage options for clients, have 4 different storage vendors. Why? Because, hey, if they ask for this, you can sell this. If they ask for that, you can sell that. That must be the way to go. Same thing with backup. You can have, gosh, 4 different backup and disaster recovery providers. Holy cow, wouldn't that be great? You could say yes to anything. Actually, that slows you down. The top performers pick 1 in each of those categories. The top performers pick 1 backup and disaster recovery vendor. Why is that? Well, here's what's involved if you pick 4, right? You look at the left-hand side of the chart and you go, great, I picked 4 different backup DR solutions, A, B, C, and D, 4 different vendors. I have startup costs for each of them, right? Because I've got to get certified, I've got to get the NFR, I've got to go to training, I got to do all that kind of stuff. I got to gear up my marketing, I got to train my salespeople, I got to have the proposal materials, I got to have all of that stuff for each one of those 4. And because you're good at running a business, you have calculated how many you need to sell in order to earn back your startup costs. And so if you have 4 DR solutions and you need to sell 3 apiece in order to earn back the startup costs and start making money, you need to sell 12 deals, 4 times 3, right? Well, if your sales team's capacity to sell anything is only 6 deals, and you needed to sell 12 and you only sold 6, your bottom line is 0 or it's worse. In addition to that, excuse me, you need too much training, too much pre-sales support. You do fewer repetitions of each installation, and so you're not very good at it from a quality standpoint, which means you have a poor customer experience and you have unhappy sales reps. And you have a 0 to negative gross margin on that deal. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm so emotional about this, I'm choking up. So the fact of the matter is you'll sell 6, not the 12 that you need, because your sales capacity isn't 12. Too many solutions, not enough of any one solution to actually get to profitability. not enough of any one solution to actually get good at implementing it. So you have unhappy customers, which means unhappy reps, which means they're not going to sell that anymore. If you contrast that with having picked just one backup DR solution, just one backup DR vendor that can cover the bases for you, then you have just one startup cost, and then you only have 3 that you need to sell to get to profitability. And your sales team's capacity is 6. So you needed to sell 3, you sold 6, which means you make great gross margin. You've minimized sales trainings, maximized pre-sales coverage. You have 6 repetitions of that install, which means you're good at it and better than anybody else in town by now, which means great customer experience and happy sales reps. That means more growth. Happy sales reps means more growth, right? So this is why the top performers actually have fewer vendors per segment of the technology stack rather than 3 or 4 or 5. Even though it seems paradoxically intelligent to have 3 or 4 or 5, it's actually paradoxically smarter to only have 1. So that's first step, right? Second is, the fact is if you pick a vendor, in this case BUDR, that isn't being sold by everybody in town, then you stand out even more, right? You stand out more from a cross-selling standpoint. So this is the first step, and I'm going to ask Junior to talk about OneSafe and ShadowSafe and StorageCraft's offerings and give you more insight into how they cover the bases.
Thank you, Paul. We're excited to show you guys the new platform of StorageCraft and what we've been doing to simplify this platform and this offering. What you can see is on the scale, we wanted to start with obviously the on-prem environments and make sure that you can protect, whether you already have storage and you want to use a virtual appliance type of offering, that's what our ShadowSafe appliance is. Or if you want to do a storage convert solution, we also have our OneSafe offering. So those are the 2 kind of staples to the platform. And on top of that, we have our cloud offering. That's our cloud services. This is where you can also have DR as a service and SaaS protection, so O365 and G Suite. So what this allows us to do is not only protect things in the on-prem, in the cloud environments, but also multi-cloud and the hybrid cloud environments. So you can go the whole spectrum of the business continuity with a single platform, single pane of glass without changing technologies. Next slide, please. So to give you an idea of what this would look like, so you would have, if you want to do, and you know what, my customer, the use case is I have a storage need, or my customer has a storage need, and you need to provide, cheap and deep storage. We have our offerings, our OneSafe offerings, the 4412s, 4417, so 12 disk space or 17, and single namespace, CDP, all clustered. You just add another node and you just gain more storage. So it makes it very seamless to upgrade. If you need a little bit more performance, we also have our flash offering sitting on that 5410. This is a 1U and all flash, so 10 flash drives. If you need to just data protection only, look, I already have a lot of storage. Then you have our ShadowSafe. If you go back one slide, please. We have our ShadowSafe offering and the DR. If you need DR as a service, we have a purpose-built cloud that's seamless integrated with this platform that you're able to fail over, but not just fail over, you can fail back. Or if you need also protecting, Office 365, G Suite, we can do that as well. And you can get to pick if you want that to go to your Azure account or if you want to go to AWS. So it gives you the flexibility you can start at any of these points. The data protection, everything is SLA based. It's a platform that was built to be highly scalable. It's built on microservices that are talking gRPC. That's kind of that's what Google uses in their servers to communicate in their backend to create fast results, right? So we wanted something that was highly scalable, highly performant, single platform that can span not only the on-prem environment to the hybrid cloud, but also the multi-cloud. So everything is coming in this solution, and you get all of that. You can also have it all converged into storage. So you have all your CDP, fabric layer, object store, as well as the DR as a service protection, as well as Office 365 and G Suite protection, all in the same technology. So single pane of glass to manage all those things. What that means is we spend a lot of time if you're going to be in managing all of these things into a single pane of glass, we wanted to make sure that you had all of the tools right away. It was simple. It was easy to use. We spent a lot of time interviews and ABC testing, split testing for different UIs, different workflows. So we wanted to make sure that it was easy to use. And so that means that the lower cost for your techs, it means simpler and easier training. All of those things can be translated into benefits to your client and to yourself. So,
yeah, I was gonna mention exactly that. With a radically simple user interface, it means less expensive people, less training, all that kind of stuff. That makes life a lot easier on the managed services side.
And it was a lot of fun. Like we had to, you put two decisions in front of people and you say, okay, which one's better? And
right.
There's all kinds of different opinions, but it was really fun to come at the end, final product. When you start using and clicking through it, you're like, wow, this is really simple. So we're excited, and we invite you to try that out. It's a lot of fun. Also on the SLA-based protection, we wanted something that the full data protection lifecycle was right there. You didn't have to select, go configure this job over here, go configure this storage over there. All of these things where we can show you the full data protection lifecycle from backup to RPO to where it's going, what's the use space, what's the retention, where's the replication, how many places you want to send that data to AWS, to your cloud. All of that is managed in a single, easy-to-use policy, and you can see right there on the right side. I mean, that's it. That is the options. Everything is simplified to the highest level to say, what is it that I want to do, and answering those questions.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Oh, man, I'm a user interface geek. All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Junior will be back later as well. So marketing, how do you stand out to C-levels? We all want to get to C-levels. So let me give you the best-in-class way to do that. It's pretty straightforward, and your CEO or your owner is going to love this. So on the left, you have your C-level decision maker. You have the person you're trying to get to and sell to. They love to learn. Usually CEOs and other C-level leaders love to learn stuff, right? And the decision makers that have real IT money to spend, they want to meet your C-level people. The problem is your C-level people can't go out and meet every single prospect. So how do you get the two to meet in a way that's scalable such that your CEO can meet lots and lots of prospects? The answer is, if I can get the clicker to work, the answer is that you put your C-level on stage, right? This is called thought leadership marketing, and that means your C-level goes out and talks at events where business leaders congregate. I'll give you an example. The commercial banks in your neighborhood hold monthly seminars for their lending clients, for the companies that they loan money to, on business best practices. Why do they do that? Because they want the people they lend money to be better business people. Your CEO can go talk about the proper use of IT for business benefit, how smart companies use IT to their advantage. Your CEO's on stage, CEOs in the audience. See them speak, make eye contact, decide they can trust your CEO, and then when they meet you or they receive your marketing, then your CEO has already got that introduction, has already made eye contact, built trust, and broken the ice. Ideally, what you want your CEO to talk about on stage is some sort of evaluation that the audience can use to self-evaluate how they do backup and DR. Why? Because the C-level prospects love to learn this stuff. And they show up and they go, man, I'm gonna learn to come to and talk to this expert, this CEO expert, on how to tell if my BUDR is up to snuff, how to tell if my backup, if my storage is up to snuff, if my data is protected. Your CEO doesn't need to be an expert, right? And the reason for that is nobody expects the CEO to be the expert. They just expect them to be very informative and to build a relationship. So that's thought leadership marketing. When you do your marketing, you also need to do highly targeted marketing. You need to speak in the terms of the vertical markets that you're approaching. If you speak in general terms as a generalist, you are less compelling than if you learn the language of their particular vertical market and you talk to their issues and how those could be improved or addressed with the BUDR solution you're bringing to the table. Janine.
Yeah, so, here's the thing, guys, is when we thought about our program, right, and what we wanted to bring to the table, it's actually a trend that we're seeing that it's not a table stake anymore for vendors, technology partners to bring MDF to the table. We're seeing it more reserved, right, for the larger scale vendors out there. And a lot of folks have pivoted away from investing in the ability to help partners create channel demand, right? So we've remained committed to providing marketing development funds for partners. We think it's really important. And we just actually recently retooled our entire MDF program to create essentially a pool of money that's specifically reserved for partners who come to us with great ideas, like the idea that Paul just talked about, right? You come to us and you say, I want to get our CEO to speak at this event. It's going to, to do that requires us to have a partner in helping us fund that, boosting our marketing dollars. And our MDF program essentially says, yes, we are ready to partner with eligible partners who want to have skin in the game, and we're allowing very easy access, simple form-based to funds that marketing teams in your organizations that want to engage with us and want to really, really boost their marketing efforts. It's not account specific. That's something that you see a lot as well. It's proposal based, and essentially we want to reward partners for the best ideas. There is money to be had for marketing at StorageCraft as long as you make the case. We're really excited about that.
Super. Money is a good thing. So what are the solution incentives of the best in class, meaning the incentives to the sales team for adding a new solution to their capabilities, right? A lot of solution providers are frustrated by the fact that they make all this investment in bringing a new solution to market, and then the salespeople don't really engage, don't really sell. So let's talk about what do the best in class folks do to set up a sales incentive structure that will motivate the reps to bring on and accept a new offer and sell it through. Least effective stuff is spiffs and contests and other one-time incentives. Why is that? Because if I can make as much money as I want to without selling the new thing, I'll keep doing that as opposed to taking the time to slow down and sell the new thing. Learn how to do it, right? Also, these temporary things can imply that your commitment to the solution is temporary. Somewhat effective. Increase commission percent, double the credit for the sale, other upside encouragements. Why is this somewhat effective but not really effective? Because, well, it does communicate more commitment to the solution, but on the other hand, it's still all on the upside. If I can make the same living I made last year or whatever my goals are by selling the old stuff instead of the new stuff, I'm going to take the easier path, right? So if you look at the top performing companies, what they do is they provide regular level of commission on the new thing, same as the old stuff, but they hold back a third of the commission on the old stuff until the goal for the new stuff is attained. And when they attain the goal for the new stuff, they restore the missing 1/3 of commission. Why does this work? Well, first of all, it's unmistakable to the sales reps that you're serious. And secondly, the rep has significant pay at risk if they don't learn the new thing. If you guys all interact with vendors, right? And if you ever notice at the beginning of the vendor's fiscal year, all their sales reps, all their channel account managers head exactly the same direction. They all turn in whatever direction the company has strategy in today. Why do they turn so fast? Because they're on exactly the same pay plan that you see on the right-hand side here. The carrot and stick pay plan is what's on the right-hand side, and it is the only thing that is proven to effectively cause sales reps to adopt new things. So you need to do that. Selling methods, OML, what does that mean? Operational maturity level again, right? So there are three ways of pricing that solution providers use. And the low OML way on the bottom left is what is most often used by the lower growth, lower profitability solution providers. And the selling and pricing method on the upper right is what's most often used by the high growth, high profitability solution providers. And so you can look at this and go, well, how do we sell, right? You can sort of rate yourself. Well, obviously, the optimum way to do it is this one, value-based selling, right? Let's talk about the risk to your business plan, dear C-level, if your data is lost and can't be restored in a rapid fashion, if your compute capacity is lost and can't be restored in a rapid fashion, right? Let's talk about the impact to your customers, your employees, and you reaching your business goals. And it could even be other forms of liability. That's value-based selling. What would be really cool, though, would be to be able to do value-based selling, but also to be able to do price-based selling. Wouldn't it be really cool to have a great value proposition and be able to come in cheaper than everybody else? That's about as good as it gets. I'm going to let Junior explain this one. Junior, if you're speaking, you're on mute.
He's probably saying something really important, the most important thing he ever said right now on mute.
I know. Very good.
Junior, are you
want
there?
to take this one, Janine?
I'm here.
Oh, there he is. There, he's back, everyone. He's back.
Go, Junior, go. Fantastic.
No,
he was in the hallway somewhere.
We're excited. One of the coolest things about the offering, and we wanted to make sure that there's a high level of value that we want to drive. So even with an initial offering starting out, you're able to get, for about half of the price of a competitive entry appliance, two times the usable storage. So about half the price, 2 times the usable storage, and having 4-hour on-site hardware support. I mean, those are the big difference. We know that data protection is important. That if your systems are down, some of these competitive offerings, they do offer like next business day. But we have everything's on a Dell platform, so you have 4-hour on-site Dell support with that.
It's awesome. This is like the Corvette value proposition, right? A Corvette's like 60% the price of a 911 Porsche, and it's 200 horsepower more. I mean, you don't get faster than that, right? You don't get better than that. So what's cool about this is you do your value-based selling, and you highlight the customer the risk and cost to their business if they don't do BUDR right, and then you come in with the second of the 1-2 punch. You go, and by the way, got a 4-to-1 cost advantage on a unit storage basis. That's pretty good. That's pretty hard to beat. So let's look at PS delivery, right? Most solution providers struggle to get good profitability on their PS side. It's challenging to do. You got to have a constant stream of projects at the right price for the right skill set at the right time, so that you can keep your people utilized fully. Well, let me see if we can't give you a little bit of an advantage. Did we somehow skip some slides? I think we somehow skipped some slides. No, we didn't. This is the correct thing. So this is Junior. No, this is Janine. Sorry, my bad. You're up. You're on mute.
No, I think we can, you know what, we can just skip through this. It was supposed to be at the end, but that's all right. Just keep flying through, Paul. You got this.
All right.
How about this? A little off choreography, but we got this. Yes, right. So when we talk about professional services, just like Paul talked about, we know that it's important for our product-centric folks, right, to optimize their product-centric business. And with OneSafe, they're able to do that by solving the business challenges that are specific to the mid-market, right? We talk about reduced costs, eliminate complexity, doing so with one platform, giving them scale that they've never really seen before with feature-rich storage plus feature-rich protection. But all of this stuff also manifests itself into your professional services, right? And these number 2 and 3, I think we'll talk about in a little bit when we talk about managed services. But what you're able to do is say, I can turn the crank on my product business and do so with optimum margins, right? And I can also turn the crank on my professional services business as well. And if I'm driving my managed services business, I can do that too. Paul, you there?
I am.
There, you're back. You're back.
It's the mute button. So I took a look at these
That's my
stats.
mute button.
Yeah, right. We all need help with the mute button today. That I got from Junior. And they did this bake-off, and they found out that it's 34 clicks to deploy ShadowSafe, 140 clicks to implement Veeam. StorageCraft found out it's 4 minutes, 43 seconds to deploy their solution versus 75 minutes, 40 seconds for Veeam, and so on. So if I was pricing projects around this, how would I do it? Here's how I would do it, right? I could look at it and say, well, okay, you know, given those times, maybe my full install is 8 hours just for fun, and maybe my service COGS is $45, and I want 50% margin. Well, then I can charge, you know, 8 hours, 50% margin, $720 is what I'm going to charge, and I'm going to get 360 gross margin dollars. Whoever is in the market selling Veeam, in this case, is going to need a higher skill set because more clicks, more decisions, more training. And if they want to make 50%, they got to do 14 hours at $55 COGS rate, results in a project of $1,540, and they're going to make 770 gross margin dollars. Can I beat them with my $720 project? I can, but why would I give up the extra margin? What I would do, and this is a time-honored strategy for the solution providers that are smart enough to pick the solutions that require materially less labor to implement, is I'll split the difference, right? I'll spend the same 8 hours I was going to spend with the same $45 COGS rate person, and I won't charge $720. I'll charge $1,200. I still come in $340 below the competitor on the project pricing, but I make more gross margin than they do, right? I make more than double the gross margin that I would have made had I just priced it at 50 points margin. I make $840, that's 70 points. And I still come in $340 lower than the competition. That's pretty exciting, right? There's been some really sharp solution providers that have taken advantage of this kind of strategy. You need to put your own numbers in here, but I think you get the idea. All right, what about managed services? So Junior showed you the user interface for the managed services piece. And here's the number of clicks that he gave me and the time to virtual boot, instant recovery, one virtual machine, and the number of clicks for a full VM restore, time to do a full VM restore, number of clicks to do an agent restore, time to restore a physical server, so on and so forth, all to the advantage of StorageCraft. What does that mean, really, for your managed services business? Well, look at these two columns. I have questions for you in the audience. Look at these two columns. How much more complex do your runbooks and your training need to be on the right column versus the middle column? How much more complex do your runbooks and training need to be? How much costlier skill set do you need to execute the right column as opposed to the middle column? And how much more upset will your customer be with the SLAs on the right versus the middle? These are the kinds of things that you have to take into account when you're in the managed service business. It isn't just price and availability of margin on the product. It isn't just the project. It's the ongoing cost of hitting an SLA and having a delighted customer, because you're going to be doing managed services a lot longer than you're going to be enjoying the gross margin from the project sale. So this has got to work in the long run. All right, next step is account management. Here's the thing. If mostly what you do is transactional sales, you're on the left-hand side of this. So it's great to get the gross margin up front when you do a transactional sale. That's fantastic. The bad news is once you make that sale, you have to think up some excuse to go talk to the customer again, right? You have to be able to say, well, what's new, right? What new can I offer them? So it's kind of tough to think up reasons to drop by. In a recurring revenue sale, the great thing about it is you always have a valid reason to stop by and talk to them because you're supposed to be coming by, checking up on the service. The bad news is the gross margin that you would have got up front in a transactional sale is now divvied up over 12 or 24 or 36 months, and it takes forever to get the gross margin. If you do a StorageCraft sale, and I'll show you this in a few minutes, that includes their cloud services, their cloud backup services, then you have, the good news is the customer perceives this as a recurring service, so you can always drop by and check on how that recurring service is going and get into a conversation with them and sell them something else. But the other good news is the way StorageCraft is handling it is, although it looks like a recurring service to the customer, and it is a recurring service to the customer, you get all the gross margin dollars up front. That's a pretty good way to get into the recurring revenue business, right? It's a pretty smart thing they're doing. I've been talking to vendors for years about doing this, and they just don't get it. And StorageCraft did, and they didn't even talk to me first, right? So that's a pretty cool thing. Let me jump into the ROI case. I'm going to whip through this really quickly. Two reasons. One, Janine can send you the slides. Janine will send you the link to this presentation, and you can slow it down and take a look at it. But basically what it says is I can either be a StorageCraft certified or StorageCraft Premier or StorageCraft Elite. Okay, if I make that investment, how many of each of these different solutions do I need to sell in order to pay that back, in order to make money, right? Because I'm gonna have to send people to training. I'm gonna have to get NFR. I'm gonna have to gear up sales and marketing. I'm gonna have to do all that kind of stuff. So we put all that together. And here you can see from top to bottom, the partnership investment, second column, to be elite, to be premier, or to be certified. And here you can see the worst case and best case, and then most likely case ROI, right? Sell 1-year deals, sell 5-year deals, sell 3-year deals. On the top row, you can see the elite program gives you the greatest gross margin dollars of the 3 programs. If you look at the bottom row, it's the least gross margin dollars, but it is the highest percentage because you invest less up front. So if your goal is to drive the highest percentage return and not necessarily the most profit dollars, certified is the way to go. If your goal is to drive the most gross margin dollars, not necessarily the highest percent, but the biggest pile of gross margin dollars, then elite is the way to go. And all you got to do is generate 1, 2, or 3 deals, right? You can see down the left-hand side there, we're only assuming you sell 1 or 2 or 3 deals in the next 12 months. Now, obviously, StorageCraft would like you to do a lot more than that, but that actually is how it pencils out. All right, there's all this math that's in here. The reason I put it here is to let you know we did go through the math, and Janine can share that with you if you would like. But I'm going to turn the microphone back over to Janine now so that she can talk to you about how to make more money.
Yeah, so the fun thing was, as Junior alluded to, we created this huge, next-gen, innovation that spanned the entire business continuity and data management protection category. But that meant that we actually kind of had to do the work on the program as well, right? So how do you stand up a program that addresses all those different solutions, right? And what matters to the partners adopting and, selling and managing them. So we made sure we took offers, discounts, and benefits and incentives that were very specific to the product that you would be selling, right? Implementing it or managing it, and to your business model. So there's steep upfront tier-based discounts across all the product categories. And for our OneSafe partners that we're talking about OneSafe today, and our ShadowSafe perpetual partners, the software that is the data management power behind the data protection power behind OneSafe. There's huge deal reg discounts for bringing deals to the table and working with us together to close those deals. We're always bringing additional spiff and incentive opportunities to the table. Right now, actually, we're featuring one of our most aggressive to date. We're going to talk about in a little bit, but it's huge, up to like $100,000 in addition to the typical awesome incentives we're bringing to the table. And in addition to our MDF program, we know it's important to bring ways for you guys to optimize the sales process. So we have leads, we have a local telesales support, NFR opportunities, and one of the newest things that I was super excited about that we were able to add to the program was the additional on top of upfront discounts via a quarterly rebate opportunity. And they can be up to $100,000 extra per quarter, depending on how much you're standardizing on us. So again, we spend a lot of time crafting our program in a way that brings huge value to partners who make the decision to lead to a StorageCraft when it comes to data management, data protection. And our goal is to bring a suite of products that allows you to bring whatever right fit solution in this category in data management, data protection, to the end customer that you're working with today and the one you hope to work with tomorrow, while standardizing on one really cool, awesome technology vendor in the category. And so hopefully we did what we said we were going to do, right? We took you through we said we were going to take you through the step-by-steps for success in optimizing the mid-market opportunity. I think we did that well. And so what we'd like to do now is take a little bit of time really quickly and bring this to life, specifically in a couple of vertical markets, because what's great about the mid-market is there's a nice intersection with vertical specialization. So the first one I want to talk about specifically is a healthcare use case. And the healthcare use case is that CIOs in healthcare are not only facing intense scrutiny due to the highly sensitive nature of patient information, but they're also under pressure to reduce the risk of any financial impact that's brought by downtime, right? So healthcare is more susceptible, as a matter of fact, to data loss than ever before. And this is interesting, right? So in addition to things like, operator error, right? Or, you can build the next piece, Paul, if you wouldn't mind. Operator error, natural disaster, things like that. Hospitals actually have the top ransomware targets, right now. In 2017, more than 100 million patient records were breached, resulting in an increased liability insurance for the healthcare industry. So they're facing this huge complexity of storage costs, right, with patient data and the increasing data complexity around those patient records, but they're also more susceptible than ever to downtime and data loss, particularly from ransomware. So enter OneSafe Converged, right, which is our solution that includes data management and data protection. It eliminates runaway storage costs, reduces data management complexity via our unique scale-out object-based storage appliance that Junior talked about, and it can be utilized as primary data storage. And when we add ShadowSafe to the mix, right, with the Converge solution, you're absolutely able to ensure full business continuity by offering your healthcare organizations comprehensive backup and recovery protection. So in the case of, say, a site-wide failure, when you utilize our cloud services to recover, you're enabling your IT teams to back up data in secure, purpose-built data centers for total failover in the cloud. So that makes recovery of an entire infrastructure super simple, super quick, and seamless. So that's a really cool use case. My favorite one, though, is on law enforcement, which is the next one. I love this one. I think it's really neat. We have a client who is selling, a partner who's selling into law enforcement. And the state regulations right now are enforcing the use of body cams and minimum video retention in this category. 95% of the police departments in the United States are utilizing body cams today, and a lot of state and local governments are setting retention times for regulation purposes. Up to 2 years, they have to keep this data, right? They have to keep this video surveillance. So what happens is, and you can build, when you think about the need for body cams, in addition to dash cams, statics, and static surveillance, that's creating exploding storage needs. And it's really hard to predict, right? So these guys have legacy systems that are introducing all kinds of independent silos in place. And again, it makes it really tough for them to have, accurate budget planning and capacity planning, right? So again, enter OneSafe. And it's solving a huge challenge here because, again, we're introducing next generation scale-out storage. We're eliminating that legacy data silo and the need for forklift upgrades in the future. There's an ease of management and deployment that Junior showed you earlier on, reducing storage costs over and under purchasing. And stored video is protected with continuous data protection, and if it's ever compromised, easily brought up via recovery solutions that are unprecedented. So I love that example. It makes me feel like we're in like a CIS episode, NCIS, Law and Order situation. But this is a great, great opportunity, an example of a mid-market customer who was able to adopt OneSafe that's a differentiated solution and also price compatible.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. Q&A?
Yeah, we do have a couple questions. Obviously, the number one question is this recorded? Yes, 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 it is recorded, it is recorded. And again, depending on who you are, what you're doing today, there's a lot of ways for you to enter into adopting the OneSafe stack, right? From, as Junior indicated, from ShadowSafe as data protection, if that's all you need, from backing up from a purpose-built cloud, as well as SaaS applications, all the way up to the Converge. All you have to do is really just become a partner. It's super easy. So if you go to the next slide, Paul, we have a couple of questions here, and we'll let this sit up here while we, and you can build it out while we take these questions. First one was, hey, Paul, I don't really fully understand the part when you talked about how, I'm not trying to read this, about how the CEO, the one where the thought leadership CEO standing on stage and talking. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, let me come at it a different way. So ideally, your CEO or your owner goes out and meets every single prospect. Why is that? Because that's the most effective selling method, right? It seems like whether they're great salespeople or not, CEO can always make the most progress on a sale in the shortest period of time. Why is that? Well, it's because the C-levels that care about IT want to meet your senior-most person. They understand that your CEO understands business, which makes them feel comfortable. They understand that your CEO knows enough about your solution to be able to commit. And when your CEO says, yeah, we can do that, that makes the buyer comfortable. And by the way, when the two meet, if they decide they trust each other, they can shake hands and the deal is done and the paperwork, the proposal and the agreement is later. So it works really well. The problem is your CEO can't go visit every prospect. So the way to scale that, scale it out, as StorageCraft would say, is to put your CEO on stage. And there's lots of different entities that assemble business executives on a monthly basis to hear some sort of expert commentary on law or tax, in this case, IT. And what I suggest you do when your CEO stands on stage is have them present a topic like how to evaluate your preparedness for data loss, data recovery, and computing recovery, and give the audience members a self-rating scale that they can use. That's what your CEO should talk about. Why? Because progressive CEOs that are building their business love to evaluate themselves. Now you've got your CEO on stage meeting 20, 30, 50, 100 potential customers at once. They can make eye contact with your CEO to decide if they like your CEO. And that way, when your marketing and your salespeople reach that prospect, they've already met your CEO. And you've accomplished C-level to C-level selling on a scaled basis. That's why that works so well. And, here's the deal. And those of you that know this, I use this line all the time because it's funny and it's true. It's okay if your CEO is a lousy speaker. It's okay. The reason for that is the audience views your CEO as an IT person, and everybody knows that IT people don't have any social skills, and they're supposed to be awkward. So it's actually more authentic if they're awkward on stage. You haven't heard that one yet, apparently.
I like that. Was good. I'm going to kill two questions. I'm going to kill two questions with one stone, two birds here. First question is, how do you become a partner? And the next question is, talk a little bit about the rebates. So, okay, two questions, two times. So the best way to become a partner, and it's actually no obligation, no cost. We created a really quick link for you. Just go to bit.ly/STC Partner Success. That'll get you, we ask you 4 quick questions, and it'll help you get access to our partner program. Again, no cost, no obligation. And then you also have the ability at that point to talk to a sales rep and understand this intense rebate that we have going on, this incentive called our $100,000 partner giveaway. So on top of all of the rebates and upfront discounts we talked about earlier, if a partner works with us to sell 3 OneSafe converged units to a new logo to the organization, new to StorageCraft, that's $50,000 extra rebate. in addition to all the ROI analysis that Paul did, in addition to all of the quarterly rebates, in addition to all the upfront discounts, right? And if you sell 5 through the end of Q2, that's $100,000, dude. That's $100,000 on the table, right? For folks that are interested in moving a highly differentiated, cost-competitive solution to a mid-market customer. I mean, that's one of the most aggressive rebates I've ever seen, and I've been doing this for a long time. So,
and
yeah.
That's on top of the ROI that I calculated, right?
Yep.
Holy
And it's on top of all the quarterly rebates, right? So, and the great news is we're serious, and we're also doing a lot of the heavy lifting, right? So we want to joint sell. We'll do all the work. We have SEs. We have, folks that are ready to do demos. We have a dedicated salesperson in your field, in your area, our field sales reps. So if you have an opportunity and you're trying to figure out, hey, do you have storage project plan, Mr. Customer? Is it becoming challenging to manage your data silos, Miss Customer? Where are you in the life cycle of your data management solution? And you uncover an opportunity and you bring us in, we promise that deal will be expedited faster than you know. We have that entrenched of a team, right? So here's a technical question for Junior. If we have existing StorageCraft Shadow Protect environments using our own Dell servers, can we get the OneSafe onto our own equipment? I think I know the answer, but I thought I'd toss it to you.
Thank you. You won't be able to because there's additional extra DIMMs, NB DIMMs that are used in those servers to keep consistency of the object store. So it wouldn't be a straight swap. You can't just get a Dell server and put the software. That was a great question, though. The architecture itself, when you do have our OneSafe solution, you can buy the chassis. You bring your own drives, so we don't charge extra for and make really expensive drives. You can just build it out, so scale up as you go. You can also scale out as you go. So if you need a little bit more storage, you just populate it or throw in another node, and the whole object store just consumes all that space. So you don't have to change. You don't have to create data silos. It's all in a single namespace, and you get all the benefits of inline dedupe, compression, fixed or variable length, whatever you like, all for all your file sharing needs, NFS, SMB, and all of it with the CDP protection and replication.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have no idea what he just said. But I want to get certified. I want to go through the class. I know that. Sorry, Janine.
There's a lot of great features.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And we do have a really super easy to navigate training program, right, that comes with certification. So we try really hard to think of all the things to make it as seamless as possible to have you kind of fall in love, with StorageCraft as a technology partner. So hopefully you got a chance to see us. And the best way to do that is to, again, go to this link, bit.ly/STC Partner Success. And a couple more questions, you guys, if you want to hang out, if you want to log questions into the Q&A pane, please do so. Do you have any kind of protection on deals that we register? Okay, what I think that means is if you register a deal and it's lost, I think maybe, and yes, we actually do. We actually integrated that as well. So if you register a deal and it's somehow won by another provider, but you registered with us, we have a percentage of deal protection. So that's kind of a really cool, unique thing that we do in our program. Hey, Paul, can you repeat the project pricing described for OneSafe?
Yes.
It went a little fast.
Yes.
It went a little fast.
Yes. So here's the deal. You need to do the math yourself, but if you look at the stats that StorageCraft that Junior gave me on installation time, sit down with your engineers and go through this bake-off. He did it with Beam. You guys got to run the numbers, but here's the deal. Let's say it takes half the time to install StorageCraft as whatever else you're considering. You could say, and if I understand the number of clicks, it also takes less skill set, so a lower cost person. So you could say, you know what, I'm going to kill my competition in the marketplace by picking up StorageCraft and selling these projects at 50 points margin, which is fantastic. And the project will come in at half the price of the competitor who's installing something else. But here's my point. You don't have to charge half to win the deal. You could put half the labor in, which would allow you to charge half, but instead charge 3/4. Why? Because it's still a lot cheaper than your competitor's project price. But instead of being at 50 points margin, because the installation COGS, cost of goods sold, is so low, right? Faster time, cheaper person, you make 70 points gross margin and still come in under the competitor's project price by quite a bit. So you make more gross margin in your projects practice, which is always a challenge, and you undercut the other guy in terms of project price. This has been, I don't know for sure if StorageCraft went after this strategy, but if you look at the takedown strategies of technology vendors who looked at the main competitors in the marketplace and said, one of the things we're going to do is make this cheaper and easier to install, they always take market share, because the smart partners go, holy cow, if I pick up this product, I can install it at a lower price than my competitors can install the competitive product, but I can make higher margins on my installs. That's a pretty winning formula, right? And then in StorageCraft's case, you've got a 4-to-1 cost advantage on a per unit of storage basis. It's pretty hard to beat. You need to check it out for yourself, right? But I penciled the math out. You can see how it's done on the screen when you watch this recording.
Yeah, we are so smart. I'm kidding. But yes,
brilliant.
We really wanted to make sure ourselves that we were able to be faster, quicker, and that you could turn the crank on your professional services just as you were optimizing your product business, right? So, another question. Yeah, we already, so yes, it's recorded. Is there a cost associated with being a partner? Nope. Just go to STC Partner Success and you are a partner. It's that easy. And you will be able to access to our partner zone and see all the cool stuff, including this particular recording will be on our portal as well. We have a non-believer. We have a non-believer here, guys. Are the rebates just discounting or actual cash? They are hard cash, right? So every quarter, if you are above a percentage above, hitting a revenue threshold, there is a percentage rebate that comes to you in a check, right? So, and this particular rebate, this 100K partner rebate, is cash, right? Above and beyond that. So we're giving away money, guys, and we believe that's how much we believe in this product and the solution, and that's how much we believe in partners. So
yeah, I did my ROI case on 1, 2, or 3 deals, and you get an ROI at some of the larger 1 deals, and you get an ROI for sure at 2 and 3 deals, and then at 3 deals, a huge ROI, and then at 3 deals, you hand them another $100,000. Man, you didn't tell me you were going to put this slide in. I don't even know what to do now.
You're getting emotional again. I love it. I think that's hits. Oh, wait, we do one last question for Paul. I don't really.
What would I buy with the $100,000?
What would you buy with $100,000? Would you buy a Corvette?
I'd buy a Corvette. VR1. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, are you kidding?
Can you talk about the value, the cost-based and market-based pricing methods? I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is? Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah. So low operational maturity level is you sell on price, right?
Oh, right. Okay.
Medium operational maturity level is you now know your cost, you double your cost, and you hope to get there. This is service pricing, but works for product pricing as well. And value-based pricing is the highest operational maturity level. It's where you don't talk about your cost first or your price first. You talk about the cost and risk to the customer's business of doing this thing wrong, of continuing to do this thing wrong. How do I know they're doing it wrong? I know they're doing it wrong because they invited you to come and talk to them. So even though they may or may not admit that they're doing BUDR wrong, they are. They just don't want you to know it, right? But you know it because you got invited. So the high OML, the high performing companies that grow the best, make the most money, focus on the risks and costs to the client's business of failing to do this right. In this case, it's BUDR. So that's a great selling strategy, but it's a pretty sophisticated selling strategy. Wouldn't it be great to be able to use that selling strategy and use the price-based selling strategy, meaning I'm cheaper than everybody else? Wouldn't that be like the most ideal combination? Well,
so does your OML level shoot? Is it like otherworldly? Is it your OML level?
I believe at that stage your OML level actually multiplies. You actually get to 25. You get to OML level 25. It's hard to believe.
Beautiful.
I've actually never seen it before, but yeah. So thank God it's Friday. So, Junior's telling me it's a 4-to-1 cost advantage on a unit storage basis. That's huge. It's huge. Right? So anyway, I got pretty excited.
Yeah.
What do I know?
I know. It's fun. Or like Junior says, it's fun. It's real fun. Well, we want to be very cognizant. We're at the hour. We have a couple questions that we will answer offline to the folks that asked them. And again, get to know us. We want you to get to know us. We want a date. Be our date. Okay. So all you have to do is just check us out /STCP partner STC Partner Success to get access to this awesome solution and some of the great money that we're bringing to the table for partners to take hold of. So I want to thank Paul. Always so much fun having you with us, Paul. I want to thank Junior. I love it when product management is with us. And I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. And we hope to continue the conversation. So have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you.